Okay, so in keeping with the lightheartedness of the last post, let's have a little fun with it. This is, in my opinion, the greatest rock record ever created. And the Clash are my all-time favorite rock band. There are other people in rock and roll that were more original, that were more influential. There were people who had better technique. I mean, Eddie Van Halen could play the shit out of a guitar compared to like anybody in the Clash. But to me, the ultimate rock band is the Clash. It's my favorite band, and I'll explain why. I mean, it's not like obviously like I have reasons why I think they're the best rock band ever, but long story short, what I find so interesting about the Clash is you have like four guys who like have faces like only a mother could love. I mean, like nobody in the Clash is good looking. Some people I saw on the YouTube or in the bass player Simon, and he, or however you want to pronounce it, and he was like missing teeth from getting in fist fights when he was a kid and stuff. I mean, just these are not like models, and they couldn't play their instruments when they first started playing. I mean, they were just, and unlike the Sex Pistols, and I'm not saying the Sex Pistols couldn't play their instruments because like, you know, like the guy who was managing them like really tried to like, for whatever reason, he like really denigrated the band in order to try to make them look like they're something different than they really were. Like the Sex Pistols could play. Johnny Rotten was like not a great singer, but at the same time he was like animated and he drove the crowd and he knew how to piss people off, which is the whole point of punk in the first place for the Sex Pistols punk anyway. Well, yeah, I mean actually, like I'm not, but like by the time you get to London Calling with the Clash, the guys in the Clash are extremely proficient with their instruments, and in fact, like they play some like most of the stuff on this CD is really fast tempos, 160 to 190 beats a minute, which is very fast for rock and roll. And they play, and it's not easy stuff to play. Like I'm learning some of these Clash songs, and I'm playing them where most people who cover them play them like at 120 beats a minute, which is like not really that hard. When we play the way like Clash played them, it's pretty difficult. And they were a tight band at this point. When they first started, they sounded exactly like the Sex Pistols, and if you had compared pictures of the two bands, you probably couldn't have even told them apart. It was just they were the same kind of people. They were these four kids from this bad part of London that were like suffering from malnutrition and had their teeth all knocked out. And like, but like by the time you get to London Calling, it's a very different sound. Sex Pistols chose to like keep things very simple, and also because of the personalities in that group, they never really took off. I think like what I think about like, I mean you can't talk about the Clash without talking about the Sex Pistols. They like played their first shows together and all this stuff. And one of the things I think first of all like people, you know, Johnny Rotten is a genius, he totally is, and like some of the stuff he said to the press at the time is like what I would call like deeply philosophical or deeply introspective. I think the problem with Johnny Rotten is that he just, I mean, really, I think what happened was is that he just couldn't figure out why Sid Vicious, like, was such a fuck up. And, you know, heroin's a nasty, nasty drug, and I think people do a lot of crazy ass shit. And it was really a shame. And I think that, you know, like, if you watch the latest Sex Pistols documentary, I mean, like, Johnny Rotten's, like, in the shadows, sobbing, talking about Sid Vicious. I mean, so, I mean, but I think Johnny Rotten was a genius, and he has some really interesting things to say. And so did the Clash. That's one of the reasons why I like the Clash, is because it's, first of all, it's sort of like what I would call, I'm stealing a term from Robert Anton Wilson, guerrilla philosophy. So what it is like, you know, okay, you have like academic philosophy, which has been hijacked by these like brainiacs who, you know, like spend $400,000 on their education. And they talk much jargon, no one understands what they mean, they don't even sell their journals in a regular bookstore because no one gives a shit. And so, what you have is, with the Clash and the Sex Pistols, is 8 guys from London who have big brains but aren't very well educated. And so they're putting out a philosophy in the same way that, people, can wear down the American military as massive as it is in Iraq, because, it's a grassroots movement. So I call it guerrilla philosophy. In the Clash, alright, so we're gonna run out the temporary memory on my hard drive one more time. So anyway, what I was getting at is that I think, like, what you have with a band like the Clash is somebody is a group of people who are very intellectual but are not well educated, and who, the Clash in particular were very much into the working class and all that stuff. And I don't think that's posturing in terms of, like, the Clash. I think that's really where they come from, is blue collar, probably on welfare points in their lives and stuff. One of the things of the Clash that I can't help but admire is that, it's like my family, I mean, we had enough money that, like, I had some luxuries when I was a kid. So it wasn't like, I don't know, like, I don't have enough, I'm using my Firewire camera, so I can't shoot around the apartment. But it's not very big, it's 2 rooms, and like, I'm not trying to say, I'm not that poor, like, all things considered. Like, I have pretty much everything I need, and some things that I also only want, like a computer that can do shit like this and stuff. So, there's things I've had to, like, not buy. Like, I really want to buy a new computer. I really want to get a guitar, an expensive guitar that plays like it's an expensive guitar. But like, I'm not suffering by any stretch. These guys, seriously, did not have anything when they started out. And it's just amazing, like, and they're not, like, model types either. Like, none of them is good looking. I guess some people think Simon is good looking, or however you say his name, Simon or whatever. But some people think he's good looking, but even he's missing teeth and stuff, and not like your average everyday male model, like you would see, like Zac Efron, for example, like, or however the fuck you say his name, like, total male model. Like, these guys were not like that at all. And they went from being, like, playing, like, power chords and yelling on top, to, like, doing something like Lemon Calling, which is just absolutely unbelievably musical album, there's elements of jazz and rockabilly and reggae, and it's all very well done, and it's, like I said, the tempos are screaming on almost every song, and it's an exciting album. And that, I just can't say enough good about it. Like, there are, like, very few albums I'd rather listen to. It's like my Desert Island disc, I guess. But, like, it's just funny, like, and you think about, yeah, it's warning me that I'm almost out of memory here, and it'll kick off any minute. But just to say, like, thanks to the Clash, thanks for like doing everything you did. Like, it's an amazing musical drama. And like, I'm still learning how to play your shit. So so one of these days I'm gonna play Guns of Brixton or
wrong in Boyo or something, and I'm not gonna like use a drum machine and pretend like I'm playing guitar when I'm not, like Arcade Fire did most dramatically. But better stop later.